Hey guys, welcome back and welcome to another vlog. Thank you for stopping by. First, I want to say I am so sorry that I have not been posting regularly. I have all the normal excuses, work, vacation, holidays, all of that stuff, but none of that matters. I'm back. I'm sorry, but I will from this point. I think I figured it out. Got everything in order to start posting regularly. So with that being said, let's get on with the video. Obviously by the title, you guys know that I'm happy with the M4. It's a fantastic car. So let's review it. So right away, I want to start by saying that this isn't a comparison video. I will save that for later. If that's something that you guys really want to see, like a side-by-side where I go ahead and get that E92 M3 and put it next to this particular M4 and do a side-by-side comparison of the pros and cons, let me know. I'll try to get that up as fast as I can. But this really is about this car and what I think about it so far. So for those of you who don't know, I picked this car up. It's a 2015 and I bought it with 59,000 miles on it and change. So now I probably put about 500-600 miles on it since I've gotten it, and these are going to be my thoughts so far on what it is as a standalone car, you know. Now that with that being said, it's kind of hard not to reference the E90s in comparison to this. So if I do, I'm sorry, but it's to give everybody kind of an idea. So it's not a direct comparison, but let's just say the history of the M cars versus where this is now. So the first thing is that again, by the title, you know, I'm really, really happy with this car. It is a fun car to drive. I still wake up on the weekends wanting to take it on that nice weekend drive to find someplace nice and quiet, some twisty roads, and, you know, just drive it. Just get out there and have fun with it. So it really fulfills that portion of the driving experience that I like getting behind the wheel, and I still like to drive it. Just for no reason at all other than to put miles on it. So that's still pretty cool, you know. Now, I will say that this car was rated at 425 horsepower and like 406 foot-pounds of torque. Those in today's figures are kind of low numbers, but they really don't do it justice. And I'm sure you've heard that a lot, but until you get behind the wheel and actually drive one of these, the car feels like it has a lot more than that. The way it puts down the power and the delivery of it all through the rev band, it feels much faster than what those numbers would convey to you. So that part has been awesome. As a matter of fact, that's probably one of the funnest things about this car is the way that it puts down the power. And it actually is kind of scary. You know, I think I've heard it described as every time you get in on it, just try to hit this car hard. You know, you're putting the gas down and trying to play with it, it will try to kill you. If you're not careful, it will try to take you out. It will spin, it'll kick out the ass end and just do things that you're not expecting. And it's almost throughout different parts of the rev band that if you're just going at 3,000 or 4,000 RPM and you decide to just jump on the gas, be prepared. It will get away from you quick. But that's kind of the fun. It's scary. You have to respect it, but it again makes you feel like you're in a car that you have to respect and drive properly. So that part of it is fun, for sure. Another thing about the power delivery is that this car can still surprise me. Even though I've had it for a little while, and I'm sure I'll get used to it at some point, like you do with all cars, but when I drive this and I'm just cruising along and I need to merge into traffic, or I need to, you know, just get on the on-ramp and I really get in on the gas, the way that it just hits, it's kind of violent and it's surprising, but it's fun and it puts a smile on your face. And when a car can do that, you guys know what I mean. It's fun, and that's part of the enjoyment of the car. Another thing that I find really interesting about the F82 M4s is that the styling to me looks much more aggressive. You know, it looks more substantial, I guess, if that's the right word, I'm not sure. But it's kind of interesting because I've noticed that even non-car people, you know, just driving it, when I pull up in the gas station or even the mailman, they comment on the car and they don't know anything about the performance or what the capabilities are. They're just going strictly off the design cues, right? The body style, the front bumper, the rear diffuser, all of that stuff. They seem to be more attracted to it. I can't tell you how many people have told me that this looks like a very aggressive and high dollar car. And you know, that it looks sporty, yet it looks just mean and kind of, it just gets a lot of attention, I guess, at the end of the day. And that's kind of interesting. I don't know that the former M cars still get that type of attention. That'd be something interesting to find out. But I just noticed that, you know, everyone from young to old look at this car and they're like, wow, that's a really, really nice looking car. You know, so that part is fun. And me personally, when I park it, I still look back at it. And those of you who are car guys, you know what I'm talking about. You park it, you gotta look back, and then you walk a little further and you take a look back and yeah, make sure everything's good, and you just appreciate the way that it's just sitting there and how awesome it looks, you know. So yeah, that's still fun. And yeah, more people than I really thought are kind of drawn to it. So that's kind of a neat thing, you know, that it kind of makes you feel good when you're out and about and people are like, hey, that thing is awesome. And they don't know anything else about the car. You know, that it's appealing to a broader group of people. So, interesting. Alright guys, well, I've been sitting here letting this car warm up for a little bit, let the oil get up to temp and everything. So, alright, now let's talk about some of the things that, the more common things that people have been kind of hating on this car about. Which I get, and I totally understand, but at the same time, to me, I don't know that it's really all that bad. And again, this is just my opinion. So, one of the things that you always hear about is the steering. That we went from the hydraulic in the past to the electric power steering. And how that the feel is gone. And that it's not quite the same as far as the connection between the driver and the car. So, I don't know, for me, if that's truly accurate. I think that they are different, for sure, but I don't think it's bad. I personally do not find it all that bad. Now, the weight of it, when I put it in Sport Plus, I really never put it in Sport Plus. I typically keep it in Sport, and it seems to be the sweet spot for me. I think probably a lot of people have said that, but I find that to be true. Spirited driving, it seems to be just fine. I feel everything through the steering wheel like I should. It responds to me the way that it should. And so it's been quite enjoyable. You know, going into this, I had that preconceived notion that it would be kind of dead or just not as communicative, sorry, as the old hydraulic system. But I still find it fun. It doesn't stop me from wanting to get behind the wheel and putting this thing into a turn and getting that feedback. So, it's not bad. It's just different. The other thing about this car, as far as the ride goes, is that it is not a quote-unquote comfortable car. That it doesn't float. It is a sports car, and you feel the road when you go over expansion joints, when you go over gravel or rocks in the road. You will feel it through the suspension and through the steering wheel, as you should. If people don't know about cars, they may get into it, you know, on the initial appearance of it, think that, oh, that's a comfortable, nice, you know, ride. It's a BMW. Not so. That it is a flat and kind of a rough ride. Some people that have gotten into this car thinking that it would be kind of more plush have been disappointed that it, in fact, yeah, is very solid of a ride. It's fun. So the other major complaint about this car is the sound. This is what the exhaust sounds like in the efficiency mode. Now this is what the exhaust sounds like on Sport Plus. So obviously you can see it is a little deeper, but I don't know, it sounds okay. But when you get on it and the DCT shifts gears and cranks those things off, and yes, it's artificially pumped into the cabin. So let me give you an example here. This is the Sport Plus setting. And when you do upshifts and downshifts, the way that it sounds in here, I hope it, you guys can hear it. You guys will have to let me know what you think. Even though it's artificial, when you're driving it and you hear that, it still contributes to the enjoyment of the car. You guys will have to tell me what you think. On the downshifts, addictive. And again, the sound is not bad, not great. I'm sure I'll work on it with different types of exhausts, but at the end of the day, I don't know that it sounds terrible. It's still fun to hear and to just go through the gears just so you can hear it. Downshift, downshift, upshift. So another thing about this car that's kind of interesting is the interior. It seems like it's all BMWs are kind of minimalistic, you know, just the bare essentials, and it's laid out in a way that obviously is driver focused, but this is just enough to feel good, but it's not over the top. And I think that it'll take longer for this type of interior to get dated, you know, so it'll be classic in my mind for a longer period, which is good. You know, you don't get in and go, wow, this is crazy, or this is just amazing, but you get in going, okay, this is decent, looks nice, all right. But I think you could get that the same impression of this 5 years from now, which is cool because a lot of cars are quick to get outdated. So I think that's a good layout. Now, one of the weird things about this car is the way the seatbelt is. You do have to do some yoga to get back there and try to grab a hold of the seatbelt. So I'm a short guy, and I'm a little thinner, so for me it's not too bad, but I think for some people to have to reach all the way back, so you can't even see me when I do that, it's probably kind of a pain. You know, the seats are super supportive, and again, I'm a smaller guy, so you know, it's great. I think it's great for the track. You know, if you were doing some regular, like maybe quasi hard track days, but super supportive. I don't know how it would be for long drives yet, but it seems to feel really nice when I'm doing the Sunday morning drive kind of thing. It feels really good. You know, it keeps me in place, and for stock seats, that's pretty good. And again, the cabin is not a bad place to spend some time. So at the end of the day, I'm really enjoying this car. I absolutely love the way that it delivers the power. That's probably one of the best things about this car. I can't tell you. Like I said, the numbers don't do it justice. This thing is just a beast, and I can't wait to increase the horsepower by a little bit. Again, I'm trying to keep it reasonable so that I can drive this thing all over the country, but for now, it's still fun. I mean, it still is able to surprise me when I go ahead and hit it hard, you know, and that's, again, part of the enjoyment of the car. So would I recommend it to a friend? I would, but again, I would have to know what they were looking for. You know, I don't think it's the perfect car by any means, but as far as it's still being a car that makes you feel special and wanting to drive, I think it does that. You know, I think it does that in a different way. You know, and I've heard it said, and somewhere along the line, and I'm sorry I can't remember exactly who, but this car, it fits into a weird place. I think this is a transition platform, right? Where they are going from kind of like analog to digital. You know, I know that when Porsche did the air cool, they got a lot of hate, and those cars were actually a bargain for a little while. I think they're increasing now. They started in the early or 2000 on up till now, but those 2000 to 2010 cars were kind of looked at like the stepchild. And so this is that transition car where it went to a turbo, it went to the electric power steering, it had amplified sound in the car, it did all these things that were not the traditional way. And so it falls into kind of that category where there's things that people genuinely dislike about it, but at the same time, it's moving forward. You know, the platform, the engine, just everything about it. It's trying to move forward, and I think it'll catch up. At a certain point, people may look at this car and go, not bad. You know, that it does what it should, and it's a great transition car. You know, I know that the new platform for new M4s, M3s are coming out, and I'm sure those are going to be fantastic cars. But this is a fun car still, and it still makes you want to drive, and you still get behind the wheel and are glad to be the owner of it. And at the end of the day, if you're going to shell out your hard-earned money, I think that's what it's about. You know, it gets the attention, good and bad. It also has the performance. And again, the numbers don't do it justice. And the fun factor, I think it's still there. It's still there, and you can have a great time with it. And in my opinion, this is much more easy to get horsepower and torque out of than the naturally aspirated engine. You know, dollar for dollar, I think. But it's fun. So again, stick around and see what else we can do with this thing. And again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you up on the next one.